This program is brought to you by the Genesis Communications Network, a world leader in talk radio since 1998. Visit GCNlive.com today.
Broadcasting and streaming live all across America. This is HomeTalkUSA with Michael King, where we will discuss topics pertaining to your home with industry-leading experts. Michael King is a licensed general contractor with more than 30 years of experience in home improvements and the author of Contracting with the King. Join us this hour for our segment Invent America with your co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton. Discover what's next in the home improvement industry and explore new products and innovations. Or if you have that next great big idea, learn what it takes to bring your invention to the world as Michael King and Rita Crompton talk to America's inventors and innovators. Remember, the America of tomorrow is being invented today. We invite you to visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, we proudly present Invent America from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country, Home Talk USA, with your host, the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Yahoo! Welcome, America. It's just so great to be back behind the famous golden hammer microphone, taking your calls, answering some emails, and talking to some of the great inventors out there, all these companies, the process to get your product to market. This is a special edition of Home Talk USA radio program. A lot of you are tuning in right now saying, I thought this was Home Talk. What it is. It was just doing the Invent America part of our show. It's part of the family, trying to get the technology before basically 4, 5, 6, possibly 10 years before the product even comes to the market, and kind of educate you on the product that's going to be coming up the pike. So, hey, look. I told you a long time ago that this show is way ahead of itself. We're going to bring the technology to you. Well, I would definitely want to thank my co-host that pitched in for me last week. She did a great job, the Inventor Lady herself. I'd like to welcome my co-host, my sidekick, the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Hey, Rita, how you doing?
I am fine, and it's so nice to have you back.
Well, I'm just proud of you, because, hey, I thought maybe Monday morning when I was going to get in, my show was going to be off the air, but it's still here. It's still here. No, Rita, you did a great job. I want to thank you for pitching in last week due to the death I had in my family. So, all right. But you got a great show lined up for us this hour, right?
We do. And, our second guest is really special, so I'm looking forward to introducing him. And the important thing that we're talking about today is that there are different types of intellectual property. We've been talking about patents, and so it's important for our listeners to realize that trademarks and copyrights are out there as well. And these three things, the patents, the trademarks, and the copyrights, are not interchangeable. They each have their own unique applications.
And that's what you're trying to do, is trying to break it down and explain the process, right?
Exactly. I get inventors that say, well, I've got a patent, I'm going to write it up, and I'll just file a copyright on it. No, you can't do that. It wouldn't protect you. And it's like, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and trademark this thing I created. No, that's a copyright, and you need to file the copyright. So Today, we are going to explain what each one is and when you use it, because, like I said, they are not interchangeable. They've got very unique qualities to each one.
Yep. And all this starts from a simple idea, putting it down on a piece of paper, and boy, once you get down on a piece of paper, that's where the fun begins, huh, Rita?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. I was on your show so many times before we did Invent America, and, in listening to your broadcast, almost every single one of your guests over the years, 24 years, was an inventor at some point.
That's right.
And then they've grown up. And so InventAmerica helps these newbies get to the point where they would be regular guests on your Home Talk show.
Man, some of the horror stories they used to tell me was amazing, just totally amazing. And to be honest with you, they probably could have saved 75% of their money, to be honest with you.
I know. I had a lady, she'd heard us on the show and called me up and she said, okay, this is where I'm at. I need to fix this. And so we put her in touch with the right people, and it's, answering questions. We're going to do a show coming up in the next few weeks about crowdfunding, and we've got I'm hoping that a lady is ready, and so we're going to pitch her campaign on the show.
Well, if you have a product out there, you're thinking about a product, or you have an idea, this is the hour to listen to. And I tell you, this is the hour. There's not a show out there that's putting this type of information out to all the inventors out there.
There isn't. You can go and you can pay a ton of money to attend a class. You can pay a ton of money for a book. I had folks, multiple times in the last month send me an email saying, if I'd had the Inventor's Galaxy Guide that you give away for free 5 years ago, I would have saved thousands of dollars, and we give it away free. I told a school teacher, download it, give it to all the students. It's free, and it's easy read, and there's jokes in it, and more. So this show is dedicated to all of those inventors out there, any age, that think they've got an idea. Well, what do I do?
Yeah, I know.
And we're there to let them know.
I know we have a great show. You got some great guests, but I'm looking forward to hearing from Jonathan David, that patent attorneys, because I always like what they got to say, because every time they come on the show, it's like it's a different type of, patent or process.
Exactly.
What I'm trying to say is each product is different. That's the point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every patent should be a unique work of art. It's like a Monet.
Yeah.
And, it stands on its own. There's not a way to fill in the blank, and there's not some template. Yeah. It's a unique work of art, and that's what allows it to protect your idea, your invention, and that's what stands up in court.
Yep. That's
if I can go through and if I can circle the words that were inserted to the blank, a judge can, and then they're going to throw you out.
Yep. Also, too, is, we talked about in the past that it's not necessary, coming up with a new idea, which is great, but actually it's, you can improve an old idea. People don't realize that.
Exactly.
Too. Yeah.
Exactly. They say, well, I'm not really an inventor. Yes, you are. You've got a new gadget. You've got an improved way of doing something. Yeah. And we had a lady, she did really, really well. She patented the process of putting a loaf of bread into the oven. But there were some very unique twists to that produced a better product. And her patent issued, and she went to market.
Well, I remember 20 years ago when we did the ergonomic part of tools, and person that patented the ergonomic of a shovel. Now, a shovel has been patented well over 100 years ago. But the point is, a guy came up with a different way to do a shovel, to relieve back pain or to, that's the point I'm trying to make. He took a shovel and changed it, and got a patent for it.
Last week we had on the gentleman that had a new handle for a paintbrush that was all ergonomic.
Yeah.
So anybody that had arthritis, this was the paintbrush for them, and he has been selling them like crazy.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, Rita, there's the music. You know the old saying. What we have to do right now, Rita?
We got to pay some bills.
I like that. We got to pay some bills. Yeah, check out our website at HomeTalkUSA.com. Everything you need with the show sitting there. By helping to patronize all our great sponsors, basically keeps our show on the air. Right, Rita? Since none of our guests are charged to be on this radio program. You're listening to our edition, the InventAmerica, part of the Home Talk USA radio family. And we're going to have another guest, another topic, as we just, bottom line, we just give you that path, a guideline, a blueprint, that if you listen to the expert, listen to these vendors, listen to the problems they have, because I guarantee you, you won't make the same mistake twice. And we definitely want to thank them, for sharing this knowledge with us. So we're going to take a short break. On behalf of the Inventor Lady and myself, we'll be right back. Yay!
Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to InventAmerica from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
All right, welcome back. That's right. This is the InventAmerica show, part of the Home Talk USA radio family. And Rita, I tell you, man, I'm excited about this, all these next guests, because we're kind of throwing a little wrench in there a little bit. So, hey, why don't you introduce our next guests, and let's get the show on the road.
It sounds good. Thank you so much, Michael. I want to introduce John Hoback. John is from Alaska, and John has been working on a product for several years. It's called the Rizer. And rather than giving a bunch of your background, John, I just want to say my mother, who is 87, used the Rizer a week ago, and she called me telling me she could not have done the job without it. She was taking down a fence. So with that introduction, John, tell us what the Rizer is.
Well, the Rizer, thank you very much, Rita, by the way, is a multi-purpose award-winning tool that basically attaches to the head of a hammer and makes it twice as easy to pull nails, especially difficult, longer nails. And it also has many other uses as well. It can be used as a focal point, as a pry bar. It can be used, the magnets on it, to help find lost, drop screws, or the magnets also help you distinguish between whether you're using a stainless steel screw or a steel screw, which a lot of people, that's pretty important if you're working, especially on marine life. And it adheres to a toolbox on the outside. Magnets just stick to the outside of the toolbox, or they stick to your fridge, and it also has a handy bottle opener on it, so it makes it pretty handy in the kitchen as well.
It's a great product. It really is. I've got one. I love using mine. Like I said, everybody that uses one just, loves it and recommends it to everybody else. How did you come up with the name Rizer Hammer Helper? And so tell us kind of about that process and what you did with it.
Well, I also want to say that it can be seen for your listeners on YouTube. There's a ton of YouTube videos on how to use it. But it seems like as we were coming up with names, and we must have gone through thousands of names, and mulled them over and re-looked at them, and as we made the list, the Rizer just seemed to stand out. And it was a little catchy, and we kind of liked it, so we just figured maybe we would go with that name, and went ahead and stayed with it. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, Apple spent a ton of money teaching everyone that an apple is something that you play with instead of something that you eat. And most of our inventors don't have their budget. So you've got to teach people the name. And so Rizer, how did you coach people? How did you sell the name when nobody would Google Rizer?
Mostly the YouTube videos helped a great deal. And the website, we have a nice website that we built, and it is right out there in front. If you Google Rizer Hammer Helper, is a single word at .com. It goes through the many uses of the Rizer, and it's a pretty thorough website. But the more we talk about it on the internet, the more it showed up. As I mentioned, Rizer, and Michael also helped me a couple years ago with a radio interview, which gave it a really great kickoff. And we've sold thousands since then, and we're still selling them. But we're now moving into a little bit more updated way of thinking with names, because domain names now, there's so much more you need to consider in these things, like what keywords you're going to use to increase your traffic in name. and
right.
your marketing strategy, right, and all the considerations with marketing strategy, that was so important. It seems like every time I marketed the tool, the sales would go tenfold. And then if I just let it be for a while, they'd drift back.
They do. You've got to always be on it. And, you've mentioned the word a couple of times, the trademark. So a trademark is what you call something. We referred to, Apple computers, iPhones, those are trademarks. Kleenex is a trademark. Everybody thinks of it as something that you use to wipe your nose, but it's actually a trademark, a brand. And so, intellectual property is our topic today, but there's more to intellectual property than just the patent that was filed. The name that you claim as being yours and you register the trademark, you put the TM by it in the early stages till the trademark office says, yes, Mr. Hoback, you get to use this name and claim it as yours so that no one else can use that name in relationship to a hammer.
Yeah, we not only registered the trademark Rizer Hammer Helper, but we also registered the logo of a hammer pulling a nail, which was the letter I in the name, in the riser. So actually the logo showed the vision kind of what the tool did. And we registered that as well.
And that was excellent. It was a great image because people could really then relate to what they were trying to do. The fact that you used Rizer Hammer Helper, and now you're looking kind of at updating that name a little bit, that branding that you're doing. And what are you thinking of calling it now?
We're not quite sure yet. We're going into cloud-based commerce. And so, we're moving up in the world here. And so we're going to be putting to work some specialists that are going to be taking a look at the name as well as rebuilding the domain site and the website itself, and then also our marketing strategy. And we're going to use their advice on this. Right now we're thinking about Hammer Helper, but we're not even entirely sure if we can use that name because it is used in a couple other references.
Yeah.
So, but we want the name to be more, I guess, a description of what the tool does.
Right. Well, I know a really great place where you could advertise, just in case you hadn't thought of it. It's called InventAmerica. So
yes,
we would just love to have you on there, because that's where people go when they're looking to make a home improvement is to HomeTalkUSA and InventAmerica. So everybody out there, if you believe that you have got a new idea, get your search done. Reach out to me. Shoot me an email. If you need an attorney, call me. Email me. And don't forget, the National Hardware Show is coming up, and we are looking to get all of our candidates lined up. So again, call me, email me, text me even, and I can get some information back to you. John, thank you so much for joining us today. And we will go ahead and we'll do some more video with you. We'll get it out streaming on all of our platforms. And I hope you just sell a ton of these because they're awesome.
Rita, Michael, thank you so much for the opportunity to be able to talk about the Rizer Hammer Helper today.
We were glad to have you, and we'll have you back.
You have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Welcome back to Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com, one of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to InventAmerica from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being with us today. And if you would like to listen to any of our episodes, please take a look at HomeTalkUSA.com, InventAmerica.info, and last but not least, the Inventor Lady. Just Google inventorlady.com and click on media. Everything is there, all of our podcasts, all of our platforms, and all of the information you need as a beginning inventor or an experienced inventor looking for licensing or any of the other services you might need. So join us. Today we're talking about different types of intellectual property, and one of the things that I've noticed people running into is if it's on the Internet, they think it should be free. And our next guest, Jay Skinner, is here to say, no, that's mine, and you can't have it. So all of the music that you would hear associated with us has been licensed and paid for to use, and Jay is one of the gentlemen that we use. Jay, thank you so much for being with us. Jay is a creator of music, an award-winning creator of music for over 23 years. He does audio branding, if that makes sense to you, and he's going to explain it to us. But you would be able to hear his music on over 100 different TV commercials and over 200 different TV shows. So this gentleman has been doing it for a long time. He's very, very good at it, and he is here to tell us more about his story. So, Jay, you use copyrights to protect your IP.
Yes, ma'am. Sure do.
So, tell us more about what you do and how you work, please, because a lot of people don't know.
There's a niche in music. It's commonly known as production music. Most people are familiar with artists, bands, touring, etc. Very public-facing part of the industry, but there is another part that is more behind the scenes that services music to film, TV, advertising, your local mom and pop stores that need, audio branding for their local businesses, regional businesses, that sort of thing. That's the lane that I work in.
Right. You do it for radio shows.
Sure, radio as well. That's right.
That's right, yes.
I left out radio.
Don't leave that out. Because I paid you for the music that we're going to be using.
I know.
And so how do you go about monetizing that? How does it work?
Yeah, so, you mentioned a question as we spoke about previously, what is one of the challenges? And one of the challenges is monetization. I'm sure that's the same challenge with any inventor or any IP holder, is how do I make money off of my creation? Music is a creation. It starts out as, conscious thoughts. And then once it's brought into the physical realm, that's when you copyright it. Music is interesting because the law that they've set up behind music is that as soon as you bring music into physical reality onto a fixed medium, it is by law copywritten at that moment. Now you can take it a step further, copyright that with the U.S. Copyright Office if you want. But in my 23 years of experience, sound recording and or the Pro Tools sessions to back it up, or DAW sessions, that's enough to prove in a court of law that you could, the piece of music is probably yours. However, it is good to take it that additional step with the U.S. Copyright Office if you want. Now, monetizing these digital music assets, most of them are digitized today, is quite challenging. And I can talk about this for a long time. I don't know how much time we have, Rita, but...
Probably not that long. We'll do that on video. I'm going to make you step out of your comfort zone at one point and do video with me so people actually see you, and then you'll be able to talk more about it. But I think the big thing for folks right now is to understand copyrights are creations, like you had said. That was the magic word. Whether it's I've got 3 copyrights because I wrote 3 murder mysteries, and so I've got 3 copyrights. But it's a creation is the magic word. Whether it's a painting, a sculpture, music, a play, a book that's written, a comic that's written, a website is considered something that gets a copyright. And so for folks to understand that then when you go out and you grab an image off the Internet and you use it on your website, you've infringed on someone else's creativity, and you should be paying for that.
Yeah.
And same thing if you're trying to use
property.
Right. And so if they want to add a music to their personality of their website and their product, and a lot of products do, they would go to then soundarsenal.com and look at your musics. And one of the things that I found on your website was that it was very easy to pick a type of music.
Yeah, it's all metadata driven, so it's very important that you assign the proper keywords, aka metadata, to each individual digital asset in order for people to find what they need. And that's an ongoing, never-ending process to continually update the metadata. It's a very big job and very time-consuming.
I can only imagine, because when you listen to Michael's introduction music, it is unique to Michael and to HomeTalkUSA. It makes me want to get up and dance around the chair and go out for lunch. So it's got a rhythm and a personality. And so when you're trying to get that music, you want your music to have a personality. And that's what you help them create, is that you've created the music, but now you are. So let me ask you this. If someone wanted and said, Jay, I need something very specific, and you could say, well, try this one, or do you actually then go out and do a special order?
Yeah, so we, in the past, I've done a custom score, is what it'd be called, and, be hired to do a custom piece of music for a company. Yeah, we do that. I do less and less of that these days, and more general licensing out. I have a network of composers and artists that I draw from. I can farm out, hire. If we have a job come in, let's say you needed a specific thing, we farm it out to my core group of composers, have them all write on it, and then bring back multiple options, and then present that to the client. And then the client can go, hey, I like option 3, or none of them work,
Well, for anybody out there who needs to get some music, all right, it is www.soundarsenal.com or jay@soundarsenal.com. Thank you, Jay.
Oh, thank you.
HomeTalkUSA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to InventAmerica from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. We're excited to tell you today that everything and anything that you could imagine for a startup inventor who's just thinking, I've got an idea, what do I do, is on the inventorlady.com website. So take a look. If you've got any other questions, shoot me an email, Rita@inventorlady.com. All of our shows are on inventamerica.info, including all of our different streaming platforms and places where you can see the videos of our guests and all of their products. So today we're talking about intellectual property and the different types of intellectual property. We always talk about patents, but trademarks and copyrights are a big part of this adventure, and you need to know the right time to use them. Our next guest is Jonathan David. He is a registered patent attorney, so he would be one of the attorneys you might end up talking to help understand what you can do and what you should be doing. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good to be here, Rita.
So let's start out by telling people the difference between trademarks, copyrights, and then, if you're adding patents in there, tell us the difference.
Absolutely. If you have like a specialized mark or slogan or say, everything comes easy to me, or, I have a mark that's like Under Armour or Converse. That's typically something you would go for a trademark. It's definitely not a literary work or composition like a song or a painting or anything like that. It's not something you do to kind of protect an authorship to. If you, on the other hand, have a particular song or, a written word or text or book or poem, that's not something that's, something you can get a trademark on. It's not a slogan. It's not a particular mark. That's something where you'd want to protect the authorship of. So in that regard, you'd want to get a copyright for. So they're kind of like, they're very drastic and very different in that regard. You cannot, get a mark for a particular song you wrote, or a trademark, I should say, for a song you wrote, or a book you wrote. You'd want to protect the authorship of that, so you want to go for a copyright. Similarly, if you were trying to, for a slogan or a particular mark that you love, absolutely love, you couldn't really get a copyright for that, per se. That's kind of something where you'd get a trademark for. You don't want to put a round, peg into a square hole, so to speak. You kind of want to match up the square pegs with the squares and the round right. things with the round holes. So that's kind of what it is. It's very important that people identify what they have. Is this a kind of a literary work where they want to protect, who wrote it, or is this some type of mark or slogan they kind of want to protect? They have to kind of answer right. those questions first and fit it into the right hole, so to speak.
Okay. So let's break it down like this. If you've got a new hammer, all right, you've got a new hammer. You file a patent on it because it works differently than everything else out there, all right? And the hammer comes in a box. The box has got a trademark. It's got a name on it. The trademark gets filed on that. But within the box, there's a set of instructions, and the instructions could actually have a copyright on them.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay. So then why, and this came up, the reason we're doing this topic is because I had a gentleman that absolutely was determined to file a copyright instead of a patent. Why is this a really bad idea?
It's a terrible idea. The patent kind of, captures a broad idea that's incorporated by the new kind of hammer, whether it's like being able to hammer more material or hammer it in a particular way that's more efficient and novel compared to anything else. You're protecting that idea. The not a literary work, and trying to get a copyright on that may just protect an authorship on that at best. And it's not likely to be granted to begin with, but even if it were, you'd be getting only the authorship on that. You would not be protecting the idea itself. The idea itself can be reverse engineered or copied by, Joe, Debbie, Tom, Sally, inventors all over either the country or even the world. So it really gives you very minimal protection to begin with. You're just protecting an authorship on a particular composition, but that idea won't be protected by that composition. The idea can be copied by every Joe, Sally, Harry, and Debbie, so to speak. So I hope you like the wording on the inventors.
Oh, no kidding. I think the important thing for our inventors to walk away with is intellectual property is broken up into those three categories for very specific reasons, and they are unique to the way they're used. So thank you, Jonathan, so much. We'll get you on some video so you can explain it some more. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We'll be right back to tie up this segment. Thank you.
Right.
Stick with us.
All right.
To Home Talk USA with Michael King. Do you have questions about your next home improvement project or home repairs? Now you can chat with verified home repair and home improvement experts in just minutes. Get the help you need by visiting HomeTalkUSA.com. One of the best resources for home improvement information around today. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com. And now, back to InventAmerica from the #1 home improvement radio program in the country. Home Talk USA with your host, the Cajun contractor Michael King, and his co-host, the Inventor Lady, Rita Crompton.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us today. We want to make sure we thank our GCN network for hosting us and the Home Talk USA family for including us. If you are out there and you've got questions, the call-in kind of part of our show is called the Inventors Roundtable. Imagine that, Inventors Roundtable. You can go to my website and find the link. Join us. We have 2 meetings. People show up from coast to coast to be able to ask questions and meet some of our service providers. If you've got questions about any service provider, we get a lot of questions on can you recommend someone for product liability insurance, a registered patent attorney? And the answer to all of those is yes. We know lots of different service providers. The big takeaway for today is there are 3 different types of intellectual property: patents, trademarks, and copyrights. They are not interchangeable. Use them for very specific cases. And when you've got something that you use it and you want someone else to say, this belongs to John. This belongs to you, the inventor. All right. Do you need a patent to go to market? No, you need a patent to negotiate the trademark, to negotiate the copyright, to be able to say, this is mine and you can't have it. It's all about the negotiation. So anyway, my name is Rita Crompton. Thank you so much for joining us today.
King is produced by Home Talk Media in association with King's Broadcasting Network and Genesis Communications Network. Broadcast and streamed live from the great state of Louisiana. Host and producer, the Cajun contractor, Michael King. Executive producer, Michael Mellinson. Affiliate and sponsor relations, Joe Spera. Comptroller, Sheila Gregoire. Assistant producer, Christian Bethencourt. Board operators provided by Genesis Communications Network. And I'm your announcer, Kevin McCarthy. Music includes King's Creole by Prolific Arts, Cajun Jam by StockMusic.com, and Zydeco City by Steve Rice. Home Talk USA with Michael King is sponsored by Bonide, pest solutions for your home, garden, and lawn. Decorators, take outdoor living beyond ordinary. Aztec Washer, innovative roofing solutions. Seal it right, seal it tight. Trimislab, replace rotten or missing wood with Trimislab expansion joint repair. Masonry Cosmetics, change the color of any porous masonry with proven masonry staining. Green Products Company, #1 in wood preservatives. Preserve, protect, and clean what you value, and most of all, make it last. Bond Products, manufacturers of InstaBind, the world's first do-it-yourself carpet binding solution. Deckrite, life is tough. Make your exterior flooring tougher. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Home Talk USA with Michael King. Until next time, visit us at HomeTalkUSA.com. Your best life begins with your best home, and there's no place like Home Talk. That's HomeTalkUSA.com.
Yay!